So body, why is it so good to start with, collapsing and then opening it up and having these things? Well, instead of just calling them things, let's call them what they are. They are children. This thing, body, is inside the HTML. So HTML here, you see, that's the parent of body. And body has children of its own. This is one child, 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 child. Sorry for clicking there. Shouldn't I click there? And then we have child, all the way there. So these are the children's of body. There's a weird thing here that who is the parent of header? Yeah, it's body. So it goes back and forth, children, parent. It's the same thing that goes with humans. If you are a parent to a child, the child's parent is you. So it's going back, Now, it could be as easy to say that these things that are all children of that parent, are they siblings? Yes, they are siblings. So now we have ways of naming them. But what we should not ever do is say that this is a grandchild of body. Because then we're overreaching. We don't have that kind of, we don't use grandchild or grandchild or grandchild. Because if you look at this, I think this would be, if I would say this is the grandchild of body. No, I don't. What would it be? Grand, that's up here because it's just a parent. So grand child of body. Okay, there's a lot of jumps there. You see, it is not really useful of speaking about grandchilds. We don't, therefore, because it's not useful. So what we talk about is parent, child, sibling, and for everything else that is like far above us, it's the ancestor. Ancestor. So not the grandchild, it's an ancestor. Or it's not the grandchild, it's an ancestor still. All of them have the same kind of terminology for it, so it's ancestor. Perfect. Now we have a way of talking about them. So these siblings are inside of body. It tells us something about the page. It says that these are the outer core elements. These are the outer structure of it. And how have we structured it? Well, we could go back to, for example, elements.html and look at what kind of things we have there. So one idea would be to go to body. Okay, we know body, what that does. And then try to find header. Okay, it's a document structure element, grouping element. Only one per page. Only one per page. And then it said can be used multiple times if nested within sectioning elements. So you use it only one per page, but it can be used multiple times. It's kind of contradictory, but it's not really. If I go in here and see, this header is only used one for this entire page. And then if in this article, I have another header because this header is used for this article. Now, this one though, the main, if I go into the main thing and look at the elements, it says something different. Let's go to main. It says only one per page. Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. But then it does not contradict it at all. So it must be present in all HTML pages with substantial content. So whenever there is substantial content, a lot of content, you need to have this one present. Okay. So it doesn't seem like we can use it ever more than once. And that is true. You can never use it more than once. So we can follow these two rules and we can see that this is true still. And now, what is the meaning of them? Why do they exist? So let's look at header again. It's used for grouping introductory content or navigational links at the top of the page and within sectioning elements. Weird. This is not. Yes, there you go. Sectioning elements. So, introductory content and navigational things. So, introductory content that could be like the name and, of course, a short introductory text of what this page is about. Mm, it's introductory, and there's also navigational links going around the page here. So this header is used correctly then. Really good. It has things inside it. It follows that description. So let's look at main again. You see the pattern? I'm using this elements example page. I'm going back here to see why this is there and what it's supposed to do and what kind of rules it follows. Let me do this from main, and then I'll quit, and I'll tell you, you need to continue on your own through the whole page. See this as your lexicon and this as your book. So, of main, it specifies the primary content area of the document, intended to be unique to the document. It should not include content that is repeated across pages, such as sidebars or navigational links. So it's one per page, not one per site, one per page. You know that first. It says up here. You can have one for each page on the site, but it specifies the primary content area of the document. So if I go up here and look at this, it says that the core reason why some person or most people would end up on this page is probably found inside here. Otherwise, my main would be elsewhere. So this is what I think most users would need to come end up here for. So what they probably would come here for are two sections, it seems. One saying, it looks at upcoming events that the school has. So do you want to, show what kind of events that's out there? Cool. And they also want to apply the guidelines for these events. And they find it really important. So the school here could have decided to put this in an aside somewhere else on the page. By doing so, they would have immediately said that it is not as important for the page or for the user. Now they decided to put it in a section part of main. So now even though it would be the same content, they have tried to say, this is important. It is not something you can put to the side and be just, maybe you need it. This is something you really need. It's core. You see? Semantics. You could use the same content, two different areas. Has to be some kind of, deduction of saying, what kind of organization is this? It's university. Have they probably run into a lot of problems with students not following guidelines earlier? Maybe. Is there therefore an incentive for them to put up this as part of the core information that the students are presented with? Yes. So we need context, both in content, organizational, and all of that. And that kind of, work. That is what semantics is all about. It's so fun also because you really have to understand your customer to put up really good elements for them. I hope in doing this, in showing you this, I've led you to the future where you understand this. After this video, I know you don't, but in the future, when you've walked all of this, all through it, and trying to make, sense of why something is an article and something else is a section, why we have articles with sections inside, and sometimes articles with articles inside, and sometimes sections with articles inside, and keep on going. Why footer? Why aside? And all of that. When you've done that and tried, and even though you're still confused about a couple of bits of them, in that sentence, which is, even though you're confused about a couple of them, the rest isn't that confusing. And that is the future I want to and you end up with. So I wish you all the best in that. In the next lecture, I'll handle CSS. And until then, I hope you manage to go through this lexicon and book ahead of you. Best of luck.